first one I was ever on was a Prozac, and it worked fine. It worked great, except that it gave me these really bizarre dreams. Like my mom was committing suicide in my dreams, and I would have dreams that like I would act out. Like I would get up and like act out the dreams in my sleep. That was really scary, and especially with the suicide thing, they wanted to take me off that really fast, just because I was an adolescent, and depression medications can be very bad for adolescents if they don't work properly. So, along with all the depression medications, I was also on Abilify to because the depression medication didn't get rid of everything, like all the symptoms. So adding Abilify really, really helped. I love Abilify. I'm all for Abilify. I think it's a better alternative to help lower the anxiety rather than like things like Xanax or more powerful things that only end the anxiety for that moment. Because my anxiety is the kind that's just like, it's always there. It's always, and I always have like anxiety. So Abilify helped just like take that out. So, and I don't think it was made me dependent on it, because now I'm not on it and I'm fine with my anxiety. It's just the depression I have an issue with. So then after Prozac, I went on Zoloft, which caused me to gain weight. They said that that was a really rare thing for it to happen to me. Because I was barely eating still, like I wasn't completely out of the eating disorder. I wasn't eating, but I was still gaining weight, which was very strange. And so they were like, well, something's up with your medication probably. So they did like a whole bunch of like tests like on what I was eating and all that stuff. And they had me write down everything. And sure enough, the medication made me gain weight. As soon as I went off, the weight just like came off in like a matter of days, because it was all water retention. So they said that that doesn't usually happen, though, that that's a really rare side effect of Zoloft, but it did happen to me. Then the other one I was on, the next one after that was Lexapro. Oh, and Zoloft I was taking with Abilify as well. Lexapro, I went on Lexapro. It worked as well, just like Zoloft and Prozac, they both worked. But the problem with that was I kept going on and off the medication, and every time I would go back on it, it would make me so sick. For the first day, it would make me vomit and all that stuff. It just made me really sick. So eventually, they kept saying, well, if you keep taking it, that won't happen. So that was kind of their motivation. But for me, if it kept making me do that, that was another reason for me not to get on the medication. So eventually they realized that, and they switched me to what I'm on now, or supposed to be on, because I went off, is fluvoxamine, or Luvox is the other name. And this was like the last and final try of medication. And it works perfectly. I have no side effects other than some like weird dreams, but they're not too weird. They're just really vivid. Sometimes I can't tell if it's like real or not real when I wake up the next morning. And
The side effects that I experienced on Prozac were firstly dizziness, sickness, like just wanting to throw up, throwing up, feeling like really tingly, like my hands really like, feeling sort of like I was walking on clouds, you know, where it's kind of like every footing I wasn't quite sure where I was stepping. It was all, you know, like really dizzy. So that sort of stuff wasn't fun. However, these sort of things subsided. That wasn't a real problem for me with Prozac. What happened is that I wasn't getting very much better, so they raised the dosage, and then they raised it again, and it was on one of those higher dosages that one of the more nasty side effects kicked in, which is that for some people, if you up your dosage too high, instead of making you better, it will make you worse, and it can make you extremely suicidal. Yeah, so that wasn't a great amount of fun for me, and I very quickly was taken back off that high dosage. But you know, it's one of the things, like I wasn't really told that that could happen, and so it was really kind of a shock that could happen. And I think I was a bit younger, and it was like, oh well, we'll try to protect you, and it's unlikely that it would happen. But yeah. Do, when you get your boxes and your information, read all the things about it, because it will tell you on the inside of the box all your information, all your side effects that can come from it. The reason I didn't read it was because my mum was very like conscious of me taking them at this time, and she got very sort of protective of it, and so she sort of kept all like my medicines, and she would like give them to me in the morning and not let me like do it in case I was to just not take it, or I don't know exactly. So yeah, but if you can, just get hold of the box, read all the information because it is there. So anyway, I was put on fluoxetine for 2 years, and then they decided about a year ago that they would take me off it, and they gradually like slow you down coming off it, alternating days, things like that, till you're eventually off it. And yeah, I pretty much immediately started to feel worse again. Not quite immediately, maybe like a month or two in, but by a couple more months, I was really hitting some low points. So I went on St. John's Wort, which is the next little bit of this that I'll be talking about. St. John's Wort is a self-prescribed medication. You can get it in places like Boots, or I think maybe Holland and Barrett, and it's herbal, but it's not like quack medicine. It's not that it's just some really sort of arty-farty, oh yes, this will be healing for your soul. Like, no, it has proper scientific benefits for you that is meant to help mild depression. But I would advise that you definitely do go to your doctor and ask them, I'm thinking about going on this. Is this going to interfere with me or possibly any other medications that I take? Also, don't take St. John's Wort if you are taking other medication, any other antidepressant medications. You can take it on